Hello everyone, today's test is going to be a little unusual. Why is the lighting sitting on the table instead of somewhere on the ceiling? Because today I'm not interested in the image, I'm interested in sound. If you have ever recorded audio near electronics, power supplies, lightings, or any electrical equipment, you have probably encountered that familiar background noise. Hum. Sometimes we can't even hear it with our ears, but sensitive microphones pick it up very well. And today I want to test something interesting. I have two LED lamps here. One is a cheap generic lamp, the second one is from Vocal Booth to Go. Yes, the same company that makes the acoustic blankets. I use it for my recording booth. When I was choosing the blankets, I noticed this lamp on their website. What interested me most was their claim that the lamp is no noise. So today I want to see what that usually means. First, a quick look at the specs. The power is almost identical. The first lamp is 5 watts. The Vocal Booth to Go lamp is around 4 or 4.5 watts. So in practice they are very similar. Size-wise you can obviously see the difference. The Vocal Booth to Go lamp is noticeably heavier, and not because it's longer, but because of the aluminum heatsink. And that's actually important. A proper heatsink removes heat from the LEDs much more efficiently, which usually means a longer LED lifespan and more stable operation. This cheaper lamp has a very thin, lightweight housing. Usually the LEDs are simply attached directly to the body itself. Anyone who has disassembled LED lights probably knows exactly what I mean. So while the cheaper lamp is technically more powerful, its thermal design is significantly worse. But honestly, that's not the main thing I'm testing today. Brightness is also very similar, around 490 versus 5 lumens according to the manufacturers. That may affect the image quality. What interests me today is hum. So on the table I have several microphones. A cheap camera microphone, homemade binaural microphones, and an EMF microphone. Everything is being recorded into the recorder, and later we will analyze the result inside our X. I'll be switching both lamp on and off one after another. What I really want to know is what happens around the microphones. Now here's an important difference between the two lamps. The cheap lamp runs directly from 220 volts AC power. Most likely the converter is built inside the housing itself. The Vocal Booth to Go lamp uses an external power supply. It converts AC into 12 volts DC before sending power into the lamp. And I suspect this may significantly affect the amount of hum and interference. One more important thing. EMF microphone is an extreme scenario. Most regular users or video creators will probably never notice any of this. But for field recording, sound design, ultra-quiet recordings, or sensitive audio setups, these things can sometimes matter. Alright, let's begin the experiment. First, I'll move the Vocal Booth to Go lamp aside and test the generic no-name lamp. Let's see how it behaves around the microphones. After that, we will repeat the same test with the Vocal Booth to Go lamp. Alright, the lamp is now on the table. I'll begin with the EMF microphone as usual. I increased the headphones volume quite a bit, but so far I don't hear anything. Check. The phone, however, definitely produces interference. At least for now, the lamp itself seems quiet. Alright, now let's move into RX and take a look at the spectrogram. That should give us a much more detailed picture. The linear view makes it easier to see. Up to around 46 kHz, there are no obvious spikes or interference. Switching back to extended loop, we can clearly see a constant signal around 50 Hz. Interestingly, the vocal booth to go lamp shows the exact same behavior. And what's important is that this signal remains essentially identical whether the lamp is turned on or off, which strongly suggests that the signal is probably not coming from the lamp itself. And when switching both lamp on and off, I don't really see any meaningful increase in harm from either one. So what can I say in conclusion? After reviewing the spectrograms, I came to the conclusion that on these microphones the difference was not dramatic. Yes, there was some hum present, most likely part of it came from other sources inside the room. Possibly the lamp contributed slightly as well, but overall I didn't hear any major difference in the actual recordings. And that's important. If we are talking about normal voice recording, video production, standard microphones, then honestly both lamps performed perfectly fine. However, the EMF microphone told a different story. It clearly demonstrated which lamp has better shielding. The vocal booth to go lamp produced significantly less interference. In fact, once I increased the EMF microphone sensitivity further, it started picking up environmental electromagnetic noise and the other sources of interference rather than the lamp itself. And that says a lot about the quality of the shielding. So the conclusion of actually pretty interesting. If you're a regular user shooting normal video content, you probably won't notice any difference. But if you work with sensitive microphones, field recording, extremely quiet recordings, complex audio setups, then these details may actually matter. Besides the lower interference level, there are also a few other things I like about the vocal booth to go lamp. First, the thermal design. People rarely pay attention to this, but a proper heatsink directly affects LED lifespan and long-term stability. Second, the external power supply and cable length. This turned out to be genuinely more convenient in practice. The cheaper lamp has a very short cable which constantly became annoying when placing on the desk. The vocal booth to go lamp has a longer cable and the power supply itself is separated from the lamp. Finally, the switch. This is more of a convenience detail, but personally I found the separate inline switch always remain easy to reach. So my final conclusion is this. For normal recording, both lamps performed well. But in terms of shielding, usability, and overall design, the Vocal Booth To Go lamp definitely feels like a more professional solution. See you next time.